Hi guys, Karen here. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. Today I have some excess olive oil left over, so I decided to make an infused olive oil. So I thought I would share that with you guys today. I'm going to use some dried thyme and some dried oregano. I'm not an expert, but you want to use some dried herbs because if you use fresh, if you use fresh herbs, you're going to have to watch it really closely or whatnot because they can have bacteria on them, and you don't want to introduce like water to your oil. It won't last as long, and you have a chance of having a little bit of botulism going on. So you kind of want to try it to do this. You want to do this with your dry herbs. It's the safest way to go. And that's because all of the moisture is already gone from them. And I'm not going to leave them. I'm not going to put them in the jar with the oil. I'm going to strain it. But today I'm just going to use some regular olive oil. You don't have to use, as a matter of fact, don't use anything expensive. Just use some, inexpensive olive oil if you have any. If not, just use what you have, and you can do it with any type of oil. You want a storage jar, a jar that you can store it in. I'm going to use the Wex, one of the Wex milk jars, and this is half a liter. And then, or maybe it's 1/4 of a liter. I have to see. And then I have my dried herbs here: thyme, oregano, and I'm using the Le Creuset saucepan. Yeah. So this is really simple. So I'm just going to take my olive oil here, and you're going to add however much you want to your container, to your pot rather. If I had a darker jar for this, I would use that, but use whatever type of storage jar you have. So that's all the oil we have. That's why I just said I'm going to go ahead and use this, because it wasn't a lot of oil in there left inside the container. Every little bit counts. Yeah. And so what you want to do is you're going to put this on like a medium heat on your stove, and then because you don't want to cook your herbs, you want it to take on the flavor. So you're going to do it the same way you would steep a tea. So let me just show you guys that. So as you can see, I've cut a few pieces of the dried thyme because I didn't want the whole thing in there. And I'd already cut a piece of oregano. So I should cut the oregano in half. And that way it goes into the pot much easier. And then you just add this to your oil. So like I said, you're just going to add it like you're adding a tea, like you're boiling tea. You're going to let it warm up and then simmer down for probably about 5 to 10 minutes so it can really take on the flavor of your herbs. Now that everything is in, I have it at like a 5. Our heat goes from 1 all the way to, let's see, 10 or 9, and then it's just high. So I put it at in between at 5, and I'm going to check it every probably about 3 minutes because I don't want it to cook the herbs. I just want it to absorb the flavor of the herb. I don't know if you all can see it, but it's boiling. There you have it. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit more. I'm going to turn it down to probably about 3 and leave it there. Just like I would for something to steep. And leave it right there probably about for 2 minutes just to see how it's doing. Once you can start to smell the herbs, you know it's done. Yeah. This is so much fun, guys. If you have an abundance of herbs in your garden, like I do, this is another way of really getting a full use out of your herbs, for sure. After it was boiling a little bit, I'm now going to let it keep going. I turned it down to 2, kind of like a simmer, and I will let it sit at this for about 5 more minutes. Sorry about that. Let's see. Focus, focus, focus. There we go. And it smells so good. At first you smell olive oil, and then you think you're kind of like, maybe I'm forcing myself to smell something, but then you start to smell the herbs as well. Because you don't want the herbs to get crispy, because that means you're cooking them. So you just want them to sit just like they would if it was tea. So altogether, it's probably been about 7 minutes. I'm going to take this off the stove, and I've been watching it carefully because I didn't want the herbs to cook. And now I'm going to take it off the stove and let it sit and steep for about 10 minutes. And it'll also be cooling as well. So it's going to hang out right here for about 10 minutes, and so it can absorb all of the flavor of the oregano and the thyme. And I changed the bottle too, because the other jar was too big. So I found a recycled bottle, and I'm going to use this instead. And we're back. And this is what it looks like, all done, and it's cooled a little bit. So I'm just going to strain the herbs out and then put the oil into the jar. I got most of it out, not everything. So I'm just gonna move this here, and have a little funnel here, and we're just gonna pour it into this jar. Oh, look at that. So it was good to change the jar, because the other one would have been way too big. Look at that. So cool. So I'm just gonna move this. And this is our oil. And it smells really good too. It smells like someone was getting ready to make like a spaghetti or something, literally. And that's what the oil smells like. So good. And this is what it looks like when you're done. I'm gonna let it sit for a little bit because it's still warm. I want it to cool down. And I'll likely, once it's cooled down, you can store it however you want to. You can store it out or put it in the refrigerator if you like. I'm gonna let it cool and let it sit out with my other oils. But I hope you guys found this video helpful. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, let me know what you're doing with your herbs this season. I would love to know. And I will see you guys in the next one. I'm really checking this out, guys. Okay, bye.